Okay, picture this. Scaling Agile in an organization is exactly like growing a thriving city. When you've just got a small village or, a single Scrum team, things are relatively simple. Everyone knows each other, communication is a breeze, and you really don't need a lot of complex rules. But suddenly, boom, that village explodes into a massive metropolis. Now you need robust infrastructure, clear zoning laws, specialized tools to build skyscrapers, and you absolutely need traffic lights to keep everything moving without crashing. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to look at the exact blueprints for building your Agile metropolis.
So, here's our roadmap for the build. 1. The Agile leadership shift. 2. Scaling Agile effectively. 3. Expanding the Agile toolkit. And 4. Measuring success with real data. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The Agile leadership shift.
Let's cut through the usual buzzwords for a second. We all know traditional leadership, right? It's about top-down control, directing tasks, and micromanaging the work. Well, Agile leadership completely flips that script. It is fundamentally about enabling. You hear the term servant leadership thrown around a lot, but in practice, what does that actually look like? It means your primary job as a leader is to serve the team by aggressively removing impediments. Like, if they're stuck waiting on an approval from another department, you go handle that. It's about empowering them to self-organize so they decide how to accomplish the work, while you just make sure they have the right tools, training, and zero unnecessary distractions.
But hey, servant leadership is really just step 1. To build this Agile city, leaders have got to evolve. And this is critical, because failing to adapt your leadership style is literally the #1 reason Agile transformations just stall out. So you've got transformational leadership, inspiring a compelling vision and pushing a culture of continuous learning to bust up rigid bureaucracy. Then there's situational leadership. A great leader adapts based on team maturity. A brand new team might need hands-on coaching, but a veteran team? Step back, use a delegative style, let them run. And finally, evidence-based leadership. This means relying on actual business impact data, hard metrics, instead of just trusting your gut.
So your leadership foundation is solid. That single Scrum team is humming along perfectly. But here's the massive challenge we have to face. What happens when that one Agile team becomes 10, or 50, or 100? How on earth do you keep all those moving parts aligned without sliding right back into that traditional, controlling bureaucracy we just dismantled?
Which brings us to Section 2, Scaling Agile Effectively.
Look, scaling is messy, and organizations hit some very real friction points. If you're seeing alignment issues across multiple teams, the fix is implementing OKRs, objectives and key results, so everyone is shooting for the same target. Dealing with a lack of executive buy-in? Stop talking about IT process improvements and start selling them on Agile strategic business benefits. And if you find that overstandardization is completely crushing team autonomy, you need to bring in a flexible Agile framework. Give teams room to adapt their methods while keeping the core principles intact.
And honestly, this is exactly why scaling frameworks exist, to solve that standardization headache. Let's look at SAFe, the Scaled Agile Framework. This is basically your heavy-duty blueprint for massive enterprises. If you've got thousands of people who need tight alignment, SAFe brings in what are called Agile release trains. Think of these as giant, perfectly coordinated schedules that keep dozens of Agile teams delivering together on the exact same rhythm.
But maybe SAFe is just way too heavy for your city. That's where less, or large-scale Scrum, steps in. Unlike SAFe, less is decidedly lightweight. The whole point here is to extend standard Scrum across multiple teams while fiercely protecting the core simplicity of a single team. You're scaling up your delivery capability without dragging all that unnecessary bureaucratic complexity along with it.
Then, of course, there's the Spotify model. Squads, tribes, guilds, it's a very creative setup. What's actually fascinating about this is how perfectly it balances two totally competing needs: the company's need for broad alignment and the Agile desire for super autonomous, self-directed teams. It actively pushes for cross-collaboration without a rigid hierarchy. Oh, and fun fact, even Spotify doesn't strictly use the Spotify model anymore. Today, it's really treated more as a conceptual inspiration for org design rather than a strict rulebook you have to follow.
All right, Section 3, Expanding the Agile Toolkit.
I love this because it builds such a powerful narrative for how work actually gets done. Picture a single feature request dropping in. First, the team uses design thinking, running empathy-driven workshops to truly understand what the customer needs before building anything. Then, as the work starts, they use Kanban to visualize everything on a board, spot the bottlenecks, and optimize the flow of tasks. Finally, the devs jump into extreme programming, or XP. They use test-driven development and pair programming to make sure the engineering quality is absolutely bulletproof. See, These aren't competing frameworks. They're one giant, integrated toolkit.
Overarching all of this is lean thinking. Lean is a mindset that is laser-focused on eliminating waste and maximizing value. Teams use a technique called value stream mapping to see exactly where value gets stuck in their process. And man, for a product owner, lean is practically a superpower. It lets you ruthlessly prioritize only the backlog items that deliver proven customer value and just cut out the fluff that nobody really needs.
Now, one of the absolute most powerful combos you'll see is Scrum and Kanban working together. Scrum gives you that tight focus with a time-boxed sprint, delivering increments on a regular schedule. But when you integrate Kanban's practice of setting work in progress, or WIP limits, pure magic happens. Limiting WIP drastically cuts down on context switching. Teams finally stop starting new things and actually finishing current things. This hybrid approach is a huge boost to both your workflow transparency and your overall delivery speed.
Moving on to Section 4, Measuring Success with Data. Let's talk about evidence-based management, or EBM. It visualizes organizational health across 4 key value areas. Current value is how happy your customers are right now. Unrealized value is the market opportunity you haven't grabbed yet. Time to market is your speed, and ability to innovate tracks your flexibility and tech debt. Now, a truly successful Agile org has to strike a perfect balance across all 4 of these slices, because you can't just obsess over your current customers if it means completely ignoring future innovation.
So, how do leaders actually use this? Let's break it down. If your main focus is delivering value, you track current value to ensure customer satisfaction is actually going up. Focused on execution speed, you monitor time to market and use that hard data to hunt down process bottlenecks. And if you need to drive innovation, you watch your ability to innovate metric closely. I mean, if your teams are drowning in bugs, that innovation metric plummets. That's a giant flashing red light telling you to pause feature work and pay down your technical debt.
Drilling down even further, leaders absolutely have to track flow metrics. This is the operational engine of your system. Lead time tracks the clock from the exact moment a customer makes a request until the moment it's delivered. Cycle time tracks the time from when the team actually starts working on the item until it's done. Think of it like a restaurant, right? Lead time starts when you order. Cycle time only starts when the chef actually throws the food on the grill. Monitoring these, along with your WIP limits, gives you an X-ray view of exactly how smoothly work is flowing through the city's infrastructure.
Okay, so here is the crucial takeaway. As an Agile organization matures, leadership has got to shift from asking, hey, how many features did we build, to asking, what actual impact did we make? You have to track outcome-based metrics. We're talking Net Promoter Score for customer satisfaction, tracking retention and engagement to see if people actually care about the product, and ultimately measuring the real business value delivered.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question for any growing Agile organization. Ask yourself right now, are you simply measuring output, just counting the number of bricks laid and features shipped? Or are you truly measuring value, the actual impact and satisfaction you are bringing to the market? Honestly, how you answer that is going to tell you exactly how successful your Agile scaling journey will really be. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.